What's up, guys? Max here with another episode of the ScuttleButt Show, and today I'm joined by Chris Levine, who is the host of the Veteran Influencers podcast and YouTube channel. Chris, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on? I appreciate you having me on. Like I said, it's a complete privilege, and I'm definitely excited. I love your videos, man.
Hey, I'm really excited too. So for our audience, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of who you are, what your military background is?
Absolutely. So my name is Chris Levine, and I don't even like the whole title thing, but I guess I'm the founder of the Veteran Influencers brand, as you can see. And, company, brand, whatever you want to call it. And I also run my a Veteran Influencers podcast on YouTube at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And I also run a show called Ask a Vet, which comes on Facebook, which we have our own Facebook page, Ask-A-Vet. And we run that at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time as well. As far as my background, right now I'm a staff sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, active duty. Salute. And I'm ordnance by trade, aviation ordnance. I've been in about 16 years now. This October, obviously I'm trying to make it to 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Fingers crossed that we make it that far. And, one of my main goals is to get to a point to where I can create a platform for other veterans to, for them to be able to live their goals and to get them exposure, because I just feel like veterans do so much more in this world than they get credit for.
Yeah, man, I totally agree.
As far as where I started, like I said, I had a desire, originally started off on my YouTube channel where I originally did fitness videos. And the whole idea behind that was I wanted to give some knowledge to those that were, so many people were asking me like, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? So I was like, all right, I want to create a platform to where other people can see how to do it as well. I mean, there's a million other people on YouTube, there's only one me though, but I wanted to do the same thing with veteran influencers starting off with the podcast. Is I want to show other veterans that there's something outside of the military that they can actually be working on before they actually retire. So instead of waiting until that 20 years or that 30 years, and then, you retire and it's like, hey, what are you doing now? It's like, I want to make sure I want to set the path for people. I want to be the example to show people, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to get this work.
Yeah, man. Like we were just talking about before this started, you can be active duty, you can be veteran, whatever it is. But if you served, you're looking at that. Your military was your first career, right? You're going to have a second career, like even if it wasn't 20 years, even if it was 4 years, 6 years, you did a career, some career, you had a first career in the military, you were a Marine, you were a soldier, an airman, sailor, whatever. And now your second career is going to be something probably very different. I mean, it is going to be very different. There's nothing like being active duty, And you also don't have to wait until you're done being active duty to start doing that thing. But you have to figure out what your passion is. Where do you come up with the people that are on your show? Where do you find the people?
So originally what I wanted to do was I wanted to say when people look back at my shows, like the original episodes, is that I used all people that have personally influenced me. So far, everyone except for, I think, one person I've known personally prior to, and the one person that was on the show that I didn't know was my partner, Tamara Moody. Shout out to her, Tight Elbows LLC, Tight Elbows 1775. And she's the one that brought him on. He was actually a drill instructor with her back in, I think, 2010 on the East Coast, and she brought him on, and he was an amazing addition to that show for this panel that we had last week. So, like I said, I want to start off by, giving those that have given to me as much back as I can, and I just feel that's the way for me to do it. That's
awesome, dude. And how long has the podcast been going on? When was the first episode of the Veteran Influencers podcast?
I don't have an exact number, but I would say we're probably on like week 10-ish, maybe.
Nice.
Week 10, maybe. Yeah. So yeah. And then we do one guest every week. So I think we're moving along pretty good. Not too long, but I think we're in a good place for as long as we have done it. Pretty good exposure so far.
When you started out, what were some of the challenges of starting out?
You talking about like the podcast specifically?
The whole thing. When you started Veteran Influencers? Well, actually, that's a good question. Was your YouTube channel originally called Veteran Influencers when you started it?
No. I'm going to say it, but like it was called Handstand Chris Mac Lev 10. It's like, what the hell is that? So, and I was just learning about it because I kept picking a name and it's like taken. I was like, listen, I don't have time for that. I want to get these videos out. I don't care what it's called. Like, even though I probably should have in the long run, now I know. But then eventually I figured out after putting out probably about 15, 20 videos. I came up with veteran influencers because I used to actually come home every single day with a notepad, and I would fill that notepad damn near halfway full, coming up with ideas of videos and coming up with ideas of names. And it actually started out as fitness. So like I said, originally I wanted to show people different ways of how to do certain body weight exercises. Then I kind of like dabbled in with a little bit of video games and stuff. Cause I like to play some games here and there. And then I started thinking about like, okay, I need to figure out more specifically how, cause my whole tagline is how can I benefit the veteran community essentially. Right. And I was like, okay, well, this is playing video games is kind of helping because you're showing active duty personnel and veterans like, hey, you could be doing this while you're actually in your first career of the military. But I kind of transcended to podcasts because I said, what is a challenge that I would want to do that I don't feel that I have the skill for now and that I might not be good at doing? So I said, podcast. I've been watching. I've been hearing it. I've been everywhere I hear, hey, start a podcast. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it just because I think I might fail. So, here I am with the podcast.
I love that. I love the idea of, I've always told people, don't not do something because you might fail. Do it because you want to succeed. You know what I mean? If you don't do something because you might fail, then you would never do anything. You know what I mean? You just have to go do it, dude. And honestly, with something like that, okay, so I'm in this program right now called the Armed Services Arts Partnership, and I was going to bring this up later, but I'll bring it up now because I saw you just had a guy on who is a comedian, and it's a stand-up comedy class. So I've done like some improv comedy. I like being in front of people. I got no problem public speaking, all that stuff, but I've never done stand-up, or I've tried like open mics for fun because it's like a really scary thing. You know what I mean? So go up there and do that scary thing. But it's hard, man. It's like, it's hard to do stand-up. I don't know. I didn't know how to crack the code. So I'm doing it now. And then sometime in August, we're going to have like our graduation show. It's like a 7-week stand-up comedy weekly class, and then you do a show. And
oh, wow.
Yeah. And so shout out to Armed Services Arts Partnership. Super good people over there. They do writing, drawing, acting, storytelling, comedy, all kinds of classes over there. So the thing is, if you go do, let's say, stand up, and you get up there and you are really bad at it, like the worst person who's ever done it, and then you're done, what happened? Nothing bad happened to you. You did it. But if you never do it, if you never start and do it because you're scared that it might go bad, what you need to know is it's okay if it goes bad. You're going to be fine. You know what I mean? It's all in your head. That all the problems that come along with that are all psychological. They're self-induced. It's not like people are going to chase you down and whoop your ass because you aren't funny or something like that. You know what I mean? You just move on.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah, you just move on. So I'm glad that you started. I'm glad that you did it and started the podcast. So you had a comedian on yesterday, or posted a video yesterday to your YouTube.
Right.
So the question I was going to have was, and I don't know if this question makes any sense regarding that person, your guest, but I'm sure you've had guests, and we were just talking about active duty. Have you found there's like some challenges to being active duty and being on social media?
Yes. So it's funny you say that because people see how I define veteran and how other people define veteran. Like, to me, it's like tomato. But for some people, it's not. Like, I told someone, I was like, look, what's the difference between someone that did 4 years and got out and now they're labeled a veteran than someone that's at 16, 17, 18 years and who's actively serving? It's okay, fine. It's called something different, right? Because someone's like, oh, are you saying veteran influencers? Or, are you able to, are you kind of gearing toward veterans? Or are you gearing toward active duty? I'm like, really? You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that was a thing. So I was like, okay, listen, I have some veterans and then I have active duty, right? Some people kind of nitpick between. So I would say that that's not an issue to me, because at the end of the day, when you do real stuff for real reasons, that doesn't faze me whatsoever. The other thing is, as you've seen, I don't know if you've seen like any of those viral videos that Gunnery Star standing at parade rest when he's a Marine. You know,
yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Now,
oh man. Yeah.
They went viral, right? So in everybody's head, it's like, oh yeah, they went viral. Awesome. They probably got 1 million followers and all that stuff. But because somebody was in uniform, you kind of get that, you know, good and bad type reviews from that. And the thing about being in uniform, they actually make you sign this, this page 11 for, social media, page 13 for social media. Like, hey, how to and how not to act on social media. Like, I can't walk around butt naked on social media. You know what I'm saying? Because I've got videos and pictures. I got a background where I got camis right there. So I kind of associate me and my title, veteran influencers. You know what I'm saying? I know it's kind of a long answer, but I want to make sure I thoroughly kind of go over it. The other thing is, like, specifically, so my partner Tamara, our first thumbnail was with her in camis, and I was wearing camis, but you could barely see it. It kind of like cut off like right here at like the shoulder line. And she's like, hey fam, I don't want to be in camis. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I don't, because it's like now you're associated with that. And sometimes, like, because of politics and, there's a certain image that you don't want to portray. It's hard to explain, but yeah. So I would say those have been the biggest struggles with being in the military and doing it, besides like getting the time. Sometimes when people see you doing something else, they're like, oh, okay, you're going to go do that? Well, now you got to stay late to work. It's like, come on, man.
Yep. I totally agree with that. The uniform, people use the uniform for clout. You know what I'm saying? People just put the uniform on and they think that gives them some kind of credibility. It enhances their platform, whatever. But if you're using it that way, it's, for one, in my opinion, it's not the right thing to do. And then even if you're within regs or whatever, it's just not the right thing to do. And then two, it makes you a huge target because everything you do in uniform has the microscope. It's like, imagine you're at the exchange in uniform and you didn't shave. You know what I mean? Like how you feel like, everyone's eyes are on you, except now the whole world is checking your shave. You know what I mean? Like you look at that girl last week. I'm sure you heard about it. That girl that Navy female who got in trouble for yelling at the Trump supporters or whatever. Did you see that?
I never heard about that.
Oh, dude, she's driving down the road. She pulls her car over. There's like a Trump rally going on. She gets out, starts yelling, F Trump, F Trump, F y'all. And she's in uniform. And but here's the thing. There's no backstory as to what led up to that. There's no story afterwards. All you have is a female sailor in uniform screaming F Trump, which you can't engage in that kind of activity in uniform, dude. It just I guess that's what I would say. If you're active duty, go do whatever you want, dude. I support you completely, as long as you're doing the right things, and leave the uniform out of it, dude. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself.
Dude, that's crazy. Like, who is bold enough to do that? Listen, I'm not out there doing any of those things. And I even told people, they're like, hey, we want to talk about this on the panel. I was like, no, I don't want to talk politics, religion. It's not because I don't like I just don't do politics. I'm going to keep it at that. And that's my political answer. And I don't want to touch on religion because those are all things that isn't a cause of divide amongst the people that are viewing, and I want people to be able to come to my platform and just have a good time. And it's entertainment, but it's also education at the same time. I don't want no beef with nobody. I don't want people arguing in the comments section. I don't want my name to be associated with anything negative. And I think I've done a pretty good job at that. So,
yeah, I try to keep it all. If I talk about any current events, politics stuff, whatever, I try to keep it exclusively in terms of like how it affects the military or veterans. You know what I mean? And that's it, dude. And I think that's pretty easy. And it's not like there's not a lot to talk about there. We could talk, like you could talk to somebody all day about how their status as a veteran affects how they can behave and how they act and what they do and what they think and with their rights to do whatever and the way that we sacrifice our rights in the military. And I guess that's what I was getting at with the social media stuff is like, I know so many active duty influencers or social media people who struggle with the idea of not wanting to violate their oath of service and like what they know the right thing to do is when they're putting out videos and stuff online. And I think I didn't do this when I was active duty, but I feel like I would have had the same problem. But if you go back and listen to some of my old podcasts, I've got like 30-year Command Master Chief Navy SEALs who were active duty on the podcast talking about war, talking about, what their next career is going to be, all this stuff. I think if you're a veteran, dude, you should go out and do whatever you want to do. Go online, be a presence on social media, but just be smart about it. And that's all there is to it. It's that easy.
Right. No, I mean, hey, you're right. And I think it all also like depends on what your intention was behind, whatever your brand or social media or whatever it is that you're trying to portray. Cause like me, I'm not necessarily focused on the active duty military side. It's more of the transition. So if I had to like label where I'm at, I would say that I want people to make the transition, and it just so happens to refer to those that have served or that are serving. I'm focused on them, but only because I'm trying to like target the transition period, and I want to show them how they can work on their second career while working on their first career. And also I've got veterans that have retired that are, in the near future, they're going to be giving classes on how to maximize property rentals, real estate, how to open a gym, like actually the work of how to open a gym, what forms to do, what people to connect to, how to get sponsors, how to get investors, how to open a restaurant, how to start a nonprofit. These are all things that are going to benefit active duty as well as actual veterans that have gotten out and they're actually struggling. I don't even like the thought or idea of a veteran getting out and, being homeless. I've had numerous veterans get out, from their active duty service and hit me up like, hey man, is there any way I can borrow some money or this, that, or third? And I'm like, bro, you just got out. You had the opportunity to stay in and, collect a paycheck. That just shows me that your plan wasn't as tight as you thought it was, or you were just so concerned on how you felt about the situation that the logic to it just didn't make sense, and I want to be the person to help those type of people as well.
I was just going to ask you if you had known anybody who's gone out and had a tough time after they got out. So you kind of just, answered that question. So my next question was going to be, are you worried about getting out, retiring someday in the future? And one thing that I'll ask is not necessarily like having another career or whatever, but a big problem for a lot of people, identity. There's a huge identity problem when you get out. Has any of this stuff kind of crossed your mind for when you eventually are going to go retire and get out?
I'm going to be honest. So this kind of goes back to when I was on the drill field. So I did 4 cycles and then I went to a receiving company. And, whenever you're actually in the trench, what we call in the trenches, meaning, you're actively pushing recruits, your mindset is on one thing, right? You're always uptight. You're always like, and because of that, it's hard for you to kind of transition. To me, I've seen a lot of people have a hard time transition from green belt to senior drill instructor. But I was lucky enough to midway between my time on the drill field, I went to receiving company where I became a senior drill instructor over there, and it actually kind of taught me how to kind of like cool down some and transition to that next step. So I guess what I'm referring to is I feel like over time, because I thought I might have to get out. I broke my ankle twice. I thought I was going to be medically separated because it just wasn't healing right. And even now it's like, it's not really where it should be at. I don't feel all this time of physical therapy and everything. It's like, sometimes I still have a hard time running. But I've mentally gotten used to the idea of transitioning out. And Even from the time I started creating t-shirts when I was in Iwakuni, Japan, I was mentally starting to transition to another career. So fast forward to now, I mean, look at all the things that I'm doing now. And this isn't to brag about myself, but I feel like I've, even content-wise and / career-wise, being an influencer to me kind of helps me to mentally transition as if I'm out of the military. So I guess a long answer to what you're saying is I don't feel like my identity is going to be compromised because my identity is so strong of who I am. I can adapt to anything.
Let me tell you a moment that caught me by surprise when I got out was, I got out, I was pretty senior. I was like, upper enlisted, just picked up chief, had just picked up chief, and I got out a few weeks later, actually coincidentally. And, and I go to pick up my DD-214, you know what I mean? And I'm out of the Navy only. I didn't feel any different. You know what I mean? Like nothing changed for me that day. I just got a piece of paper and like, that was it. I had felt no changes. Then I'm out shopping and I'm at the cash register and in San Diego and somebody goes, "Are you military?" And I was like, no, I don't know. No. And that was the first time I realized that something had changed. You know what I mean? Like if I had said yes, here's the thing. It's not about a discount, but if I had said yes, I felt like I would have been lying. Like, it would have, like, I'm not in the military anymore. All those things that I had yesterday in my life that were associated with being in the military are now nothing. They're meaningless. You know what I mean? They're not, it's not like they have no meaning, but they don't apply anymore. I have to erase those things. I have to erase those things from my life. Like if you get out and you don't retire and you don't work on base, whatever, forget about the gym. Forget about the laundromat. Forget about the exchange. Forget about the chapel. Forget the pool, the beaches on base. Forget about it. All that stuff is going to vanish in an instant for you. All the way that you lived your life is going to change. If you retire, it's different. If you get medically sepped, different. If you even switch over to become a GS or contractor, different story. But if you just get out, and you're not in anymore, all that stuff that became a part of your daily life that it just is how it is, especially if you were joined when you were 18 like I did, and I think probably like you did, but I'm just doing the quick math in my head. You're probably 18. All that stuff, it's just not there anymore. So your whole adult life, you were used to one way of things being, and then in one moment, they're all switched off. All those things that you associated with, all those things you can do, all those privileges, they disappear. And I don't mean to say that in a scary way, but I just tell people, I'm like, you should prepare for that because those things caught me by surprise. They might catch you by surprise. So you're like, oh, shoot, a gym membership? At like Planet Fitness or whatever, like, oh man, I didn't even think, and they don't got a pool. I didn't even think about that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I need a pen. I got to go buy a pen. I'm not walking down to Supply and getting my government pen. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff, it just changes. That's what I would tell people. I'm like, it's not the stuff you think. It's the stuff you weren't able to predict. You know what I mean? It's going to catch you by surprise. So anyway, I digress. I notice you're wearing your veteran influencer shirt, which is dope. And I'll post a picture. Like people watching this will see it. If you go to Instagram or wherever, YouTube, you'll see it. Are you selling those?
Actually, I am. Yeah, I've got my own little website on Teespring.
Nice.
So if you just go to Teespring, type in veteran influencers, you know what I'm saying? It'll go and pop up.
Is that on your YouTube channel too? Are they linked down there on your YouTube channel?
No, so it actually, in order, and I found this out, and this is the reason why I actually went to Teespring, because I was doing all this like research. I was just like, how can I link it? I saw these other YouTubers, and then I found out it's like, after I had already set up my account, it's like, oh yeah, you gotta have 10,000 subscribers in order to do that. I was like, bruh. So you can't necessarily connect it to the bottom. You know what I'm talking about on the bottom?
Yeah, I do. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I thought I was in there. I mean, I planned on doing that. I thought I was good. And I was like, why isn't it working? I connected it, but it ain't showing up. And that's when I found out the whole 10,000 subscribers. So, building up to that point, and then also working with Tight Elbows, she's going to actually once she gets to a point where, you know, we can do that. She's working on some other stuff right now. We're working on some huge things for the near future, but we're going to actually combine efforts, and I want to have my own website through her. So when they click on my stuff, it goes to her, and then she makes it so that you know what I'm saying? She'll get the money that Teespring will normally get, and then I get a portion of that. So
have you, so one thing I think is really interesting about you and your channel is veteran influencers is one of those names where it seems like you must have been an OG. You know what I mean? Like, you must have been around because the name's so good. It sounds like a professional brand that it's one of those names where like, oh, you would think you've heard of it before. Like, oh yeah, I've seen that in stores or something. You know what I mean? Like they're probably they're on TV or whatever. It's a great name and a great brand. And it's awesome that you were able to lock that in. Do you have a definition of what a veteran influencer is?
I like that. So originally and I would say my definition should technically kind of like your tagline should kind of sum up. And I always thought, well, my tagline, I guess, is also the same thing as what your why is. But originally I said I want to be in a position to where I can show people that they can work on their second retirement or career while working on their first. But it's also someone that represents something. So obviously, I'm active duty military, but like I said, I get it. Some people distinguish veteran, active duty. To me, it's the same thing. Like, if I just get out today, I'm a veteran. If I stay in, I'm active duty. So some people dislike that, but I'm going to be a veteran eventually. And you look back, but, and somebody that's there for selfless reasons. I get more out of other people becoming successful than I do myself. I'm going to tell you right now, if I took away all the efforts that I did for other people, I would probably be in a way higher position. And this isn't to make excuses because I'm not into doing that. I'm just saying the facts. I have spent more time investing in other people than I think I have myself. And I just recently started investing more in myself. And that's why you see like more clips. You see the editing's better. The graphics have gotten better. I've got this dope intro, the songs, just the whole feel of my brand. Because now I'm starting to focus on myself and invest in myself. So if I had to sum up what veteran influencers is people like myself that want to do things for selfless reasons and want to benefit the veteran community. Yeah,
I like you the way you define veteran influencers, but I want to just say say one thing about what you were saying about you would be in a higher position if you focus more on yourself instead of other people. Kind of that stuff you're talking about. The only thing I'll say about that comes to mind right away when you say that, because I can empathize with that a lot because I do the same thing.
Right.
It depends on how you define higher position. You know what I mean? Because maybe you would be in a higher pay grade. Maybe you would be, maybe you would have more stuff on your YouTube or your Instagram or whatever. But the only position that matters, and I've realized this as I've gotten into my 30s, is the only position that matters is that you're in good standing with yourself and the people around you, dude, because that's all that matters. You know what I mean? It's literally the only thing that matters. And if you feel that, if you know that that's true, and you feel like you can live your life honorably and hold your head high with the things you've done, it's the only thing that matters. And not only that, but from a more tangible perspective, having good people, if you support other people around you, I think the idea is you all grow together. You know what I mean? Like the cream always rises. You might not have made E9 by now or something like that. Like, let's say, for example, like we'll just use, I'm not saying that that's you, but let's just use that as an example. You might not make E9, but 50 of you are going to make E8 at the same time or something like that. You know what I mean? And you could be, it's lonely at the top, so to speak. You know what I mean? If you step over a bunch of people to get there, you're not in a better position just because you appear to have more. You have less of the most important stuff, which is friends, family, honor, integrity. The only things that matter when you look at like end of life, how you lived your life, what your legacy is, all that. You know what I mean?
Honestly, you make up a great point, and I guess I don't feel like I really need to go back and explain, but like, although you completely tore that definition up, so I appreciate you kind of going off of that. But when I say higher position, the first thing I visualized was like what other people perceive to be important. You know, followers, more money, more. I'm trying to use words that's not like, opinionated. Mostly it would be more followers, more money, and maybe I'd be in a different position. I guess I could say different. So.
Yeah, I figured that's what you meant. I went with the military thing because just yesterday I was having a conversation with somebody, and we were talking about people who never are there with the team because they're always doing things like collateral duties for their career or whatever. But they've lost all respect from their teammates because they're never at work. They're never doing anything that's important. They're just off doing their own thing. They're off doing whatever collateral duty stuff, but it's all kind of BS. Like you're the urinalysis person, so you can't be bothered to do your job. You know what I mean? So you're always off doing urinalysis meetings or whatever. And then, yeah, you made the next rank because that was on your eval. But what did you lose? You lost the respect of your peers. You know what I mean? So to me, what I value as a high, and just like if it was followers, if you maybe don't have as many followers as you thought you might have if you had done different stuff for yourself, if your buddy or your peer, somebody that you mentored, makes it, you're going to make it too, hopefully with them. I mean, hopefully that's the idea. You've built a good team of people and you all support each other as opposed to just focusing on your numbers, your statistics. And again, I'm talking out to the audience. You know what I mean? If you're listening, and only for my own personal experience, is the only thing that matters to me isn't how good I'm doing or how good it looks like I'm doing to an outsider. It's how good I know I'm doing and within my most important circle of people, what they think of me,
Hey, hold on. Let me give you. I like that right there, man. That whole little segment, you just destroyed me on this whole podcast, man. I like that, man. That's real.
No, I understand what you mean, dude. Obviously, you just are explaining that your mission is to help veterans succeed afterwards. So I think you're doing exactly what we just talked about. You know what I mean? You're doing great.
Right.
And as long as you feel good about what you're doing, that's how I look. This is really me just emoting my own thoughts on my stuff, basically, to you. As long as you're doing what you believe is the right thing to do, the right people will find you. You'll get to the place you need to be. And when you get there, it'll be at the right time for the right reasons. It'll be the absolute best case scenario. You know what I mean? You don't want to rush it. You don't want to force it. You just got to keep pressing on, dude, with the belief that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing.
You're absolutely right with that too. And I'm I'm guilty of being impatient about certain things because when you're going on this path of just anything, it's not necessarily the fear of the unknown. It's like the not knowing of the unknown. You just don't know. So should I be worried about where I'm at this point? Should I be worried about, am I not going in the right direction? Am I not moving fast enough? Am I doing something wrong? These are all things that there's so many things that are subjective and everybody has a different opinion about, no, it's supposed to be done like this or it's supposed to be done like this. So it's like, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Sometimes you just don't know. So I don't know if it's like just being impatient or if you're just, you're smart by inquiring about those things that, wondering if you're on the right path or not. And I think to me, that's one of the hardest things is not knowing whether you're doing the right thing, but knowing if you're doing the correct thing. I know that sounds kind of like weird to say. Right and correct are technically the same definition, but I meant correct as far as, are you hitting the right wickets? Not are you doing things right as a whole?
Yeah, what I've noticed a lot is when you're really struggling with something, you see a lot of other people doing it. You just haven't found the right resource yet. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you're like, it's kind of like we were talking earlier before we started about like graphic design and doing like intros and outros to your videos. And I spent so long learning all these skills so I could do that for myself on my own platforms. And then I realized like, oh, people are doing this with like a plugin or a template or something like that. You know what I mean? Like this isn't all hand done all the time. Like people are, and then you start to see the same stuff on a couple, like, huge YouTuber, Peter McKinnon, Peter McKinnon, big YouTuber dude who does like photo, video stuff. So you watch his intro from back in the day and you're like, whoa, what a good intro. This is rock solid, and then you go to somebody else's YouTube channel and they've got the same one, exactly the same one. It's like a plug and play type thing. You're like, I feel like like what most people view when you don't know something as like magic, you just don't know the secret yet. You know what I mean? And people keep that so close to the chest a lot of times. Like they don't want everybody to know their secret. But what and even historically, what people used to view as like magic was just science. You know what I mean? And now very simple stuff. It's like the same thing with this entertainment stuff with YouTube. If you're doing for all my people out there who listen, who are starting their own podcast or whatever, it's not magic. Okay? It's not magic. There is some stuff that I don't understand. Like I might call the algorithm magic, like the magic algorithm, because I don't understand it. But people out there do understand it. That's why you can hire them on Fiverr for $1,000 and they'll get you 1 million followers or whatever, not bots, because they understand the algorithm. They know exactly the right moves to do, the right tags at the right times to get you at the top of the Instagram feed. You know what I mean? There's a secret to it. We just don't, you and I don't know it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you do know it. I don't know. I don't know it. Exactly how to get placed at top all the time. You know what I mean? Like we make efforts, but some people out there are real experts at it.
Right. And that's what I was telling you. It's not that I'd never tried, because see, I always want to have at least a general concept of what it is that I do, right? I don't do all my graphics anymore, but I was doing everything on my own before. All my own editing, all my own, figured everything out on my own. And I just realized I was putting in more effort than I was getting results from. Not because of views, but just because of how long, like for instance, when I was doing my own editing, it's like, okay, now I got to do editing on this day. Oh, if I didn't get to it that day. And sometimes I wouldn't get a video out for 2 weeks. Now it's like, what I'm saying? I got a YouTube video out every day. Production has gone up times 1,000. Looking at my analytics, my watch time is up by like 1,000. My watch minutes are up by like 1,000. So it's all on what you do. It's like, are you going to go buy a cheeseburger one day and this, all that money that you add up from all those pleasurable things that you do, can you just not get it and use that towards something that's going to actually invest in yourself? Because I feel like it's a win-win. Now you're not spending money on things that don't matter, and you're investing in yourself, and you save time.
Oh, it's true. It's so true. I love that too. I tell people all the time to invest in yourself. Like, just do it, man. Just do it. Because there's so many reasons why. You should invest in yourself, because then you damn well better make use of the investment you made in yourself, right? It tells you that you believe in yourself enough to actually make the first move, which is like invest in yourself to make the quality good. And then the return on investment should be really good too, because people notice that stuff big time. Like, if you go onto somebody's YouTube channel and they are really poor audio quality, really poor video quality from like an iPhone in an echoey room from 8 feet away, then people go, they make a judgment, right? Like I do it, make a judgment right away on how far along this person is on their journey, how long they've been doing it, how seriously they take it. You know what I mean? Like if you go look at, like, one thing I try to do, try to find other people who have similar stuff to you, similar quality stuff. And then what would you think of their stuff? Like, man, they look pro, you know what I mean? And it's as simple as like hanging a couple lights in the background, maybe getting a small light off of B&H or something like that for your video, getting a real lens on your camera, a microphone. And then all of a sudden you're like, damn, this person's serious. This person's professional, as opposed to somebody who's just like right now I just have the light, like I'm just on Zoom, right? I just have the lights on in the room. We're sitting here talking. I got the mic though. So the audio sounds good. But if you look like behind me, I've got this camera and that desk. And then if you can't see it, but just off screen here, I've got my flag, I've got lights hanging, I've got lights on the ceiling. When I do the actual YouTube, it's done up. You know what I mean? Because I want people to know, hey, I'm in business. I'm here I'm taking this seriously, No,
like I said, I did a lot of research. I don't want to say because I did a lot of research, I'm like some pro at it, but I did a lot of research, and a lot of times I got to watch more videos than the normal person or the average person, because a lot of this stuff is foreign to me. And I feel like I got to read more than other people so I can retain a little bit more, because I've never been good at electronics, never been, it took me a long time to learn the concept, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Even with like just how to upload a video on YouTube, you know. But once I got in the rhythm of doing it, you know, it became a lot easier. And the fact that I do it every day now, it's a little bit easier for me. But in the background, you know, I got my green screen here. You know, I had, you know, I created a little background. It's got like camis and medals and everything. It kind of like, you know, it says military or, you know, and, you know, I got my own webcam. It's a pretty expensive one, Logitech Brio. I think it's pretty much the highest quality one that you can get. I think it's like 4K. You can like see the grease on my face. It's like it's so damn hot in here. You know, you know, I got the microphone, I got the boom arm, and I actually have, you guys can't see it, but over here I have 2 lighting kits that are actually facing down on me. You know, and that comes from me upgrading a little bit. I got this, you know, this new laptop that actually renders videos like really fast. You know, I think I got it last year, you know, with my tax money. So I've definitely invested in myself. And like I was telling you earlier, if you go back to my old videos and then you go back to this one, you know what I'm saying? You just realize the difference. So, I think that's kind of been obvious through, I've had a lot of people contact me over the last like 2 months telling me how much they can see the difference. And not only that, it's like now they're interested. Like, hey, what do I got to do to get on your podcast? You know, hey, what do I got to do to be a part of your show? And, you know, how can I get your clothing and, you know, so on and so forth. So it's like, you know, people, like you said, it's a whiff. I'm like, what's in it for me? People will kind of cling on to something when they see you putting more effort into it. But just because you start something and go, hey, I started this, go buy my stuff, people are like, but then when they see you do it for 6 months, a year and a half, they're like, wow, this guy really means business. Let me check his stuff out.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. You have to just start. And here's the thing. And I want to, for people listening who are thinking about doing stuff like this, don't do what I just said first before you try it. You know what I mean? Try it small because you might not like it. You know what I mean? You don't want to do all this stuff and then find out that you don't like it. And you're going to be like, oh, shoot, I blew it. Like, I don't even enjoy this. You have to do it and realize that you love it. And then if you realize that you love it and it gets to a point where you don't really see your life without it anymore, then you're in, dude. It's an easy choice. We were talking about this before the show. You know, like we both had a moment where we had a chance to walk away from it, a good reason to, and then didn't. And that's the deciding moment, you know, and that's the deciding moment. When you have that, like usually in anything, you get like an easy out once, you know what I mean? Like it's like the do or die. It's like the re-enlisting at 8 years or something like that. You know what I mean? Like this is it. I need to make my decision now. And then you choose to push forward, and then you know you're all in, dude. Then you know you're good, and you can pursue it and go buy the stuff, go do it. But try it first. Like I bought a bunch of cameras, and this is from my mistakes. I bought a bunch of cameras to get into filmmaking before I ever tried it, and I didn't know. Which I love it, and so I'm good. Like it all worked out, but I didn't know beforehand all the challenges. Like if you go want to bring some pro cameras somewhere, get ready to lug around 40 pounds. It's not going to be easy. It's clunky. There's a lot of work that goes into it, as opposed to like just bringing out the GoPro or whatever to get a quick video.
Right.
And I didn't try it first. Now if somebody says, "Oh, I'm thinking about buying a camera," like, what do you think about this camera? I was like, well, see if you can borrow a camera and just carry it around with you for a day. You'll know if you want a camera or not. Because if you get like a DSLR camera with a lens and then you go out on a day trip somewhere on travel and you carry that thing around for a day, what a pain. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be annoying. It's clunky. It's, it doesn't fit well in any bag. You got, your arms getting tired carrying it around, only to take, a few pictures here and there. And then you get the picture and you're like, this isn't what I saw on Instagram. And that's because you didn't learn all the tricks and the lighting and the editing and all this stuff yet. So you might hate cameras. You know what I mean? So borrow a camera or just bring a brick. Just take a brick. Take a brick with you.
That's funny.
Out on a trip and see if you like that. Okay, so I'm sorry. I want to get back onto your show. I feel like that was a great conversation. But there was some more stuff I wanted to get to about your show. You do the Ask a Vet show on Facebook. What is that? What do you guys talk about on there?
So Ask a Vet, it's just originally it was just gonna be myself and my partner Tamara Moody. Once again, shout out Tight Elbows. And it's just to speak about subjects that, you know, active duty and veterans can kind of relate to kind of make light of certain situations that was like a pain in the butt, and to also just to create a community of people where it's like I can go watch a show that's entertaining and it's talking about stuff that we know, because I know there's a lot of people that get out and it's like they feel like they're so separated from the community, and it's like, where can I go to kind of have that that veteran community type, brother sisterhood type feel? Ask a vet. So make sure y'all ask a vet. But not only that, but we wanted to create panels. Like, for instance, our first panel was a master sergeant that had just retired and a sergeant that had gotten out. I think he was medically retired, and they were kind of speaking on certain things about the certain processes that can actually help the veteran community out, education, lessons learned, stuff to that matter. Then this last panel that we just had, which was last Friday, was a panel of prior drill instructors. So we all got together, and it started off Ask a Drill Instructor. So it's called Ask a Vet, and the thumbnail that I have, it says Ask a Vet with the vet crossed off, and it says DI. So it's kind of giving birth to like so many. There's a million different concepts that we're going to have in the future, and it's like a bunch of drill instructors answering questions that the chat asks. So anytime it's always been this forbidden thing to ask a drill instructor anything, right? As a recruit, it's like, oh, I'm not asking him nothing because I know I'm gonna get yelled at and probably get IT'd. So now, like, the whole concept was like, now I can ask a drill instructor a question. We berate them a little bit and then kind of answer their question, like kind of all in fun though, you know?
Yep. I like that. That's fun. And when is that on?
So Ask a Vet comes on Friday nights at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time on Facebook. And so we've been playing it on our personal channels. Now, starting this Friday, we're actually doing it on a new Facebook page that I started called Ask-a-Vet. Ask a Vet. So make sure you guys go. Make sure you like that page. Hit up the notification so you get it. And we're going to be live every Friday night. Every other Friday we have guests on there or a panel, but every other one we have just myself and Tamara.
Nice. I like the schedule. I want to do something like that. I want to do a live stream with a consistent schedule and kind of chat with the people who listen to the show. I got to figure out,
right,
being in Japan, I got to figure out what the right time is to do that. What's the dream, man? What's the victory look like for the Veteran Influencer Show?
Well, eventually, see, when you mention money, people are like, oh, that's why he's doing it. No, but I've dedicated a lot of time from promotion to creating videos to getting it recorded to doing the show to locking guests on to gear, all that stuff. So eventually you want to make that money back somehow. So I definitely want to get to a point to where I fit into the description of kind of like what my tagline is, where you work on your second retirement or career while working on your first. And I do want to get, multiple streams of income coming back from this, because all too often, unfortunately, like when you're not successful when you're not making money, people don't really want to listen to you, right? They want to listen to people that have done it. And money is this big factor in a lot of people's lives. It's like, oh, he's not making money from and it kind of separates what's a hobby and what's a career. So money is definitely one of those things. I want to get to a point to where I can sustain myself to where I don't need the military, and even like my retirement check gets put up, or I can put it toward investments. And I don't want to rely on the military or the retirement. I want to have my own thing going, and I want to work on my second retirement while working on my first. Secondly, like I said, I want to get to a point to where all I have to do is mention someone's name or have them show up to one of my shows, and then like 30, 40,000 followers go to them, or massive success goes to them just for them being on my show. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the people that are on the show or get featured on my page or whatever, it's people that I truly want to help, veterans and active duty people, and just overall good people that have influenced my life. There's other things that I want to do that's kind of outside the scope of veteran influencers, but not really. So it's kind of outside the scope of the whole being on camera type thing. Like I want to have my own real estate. I want to eventually get to a point to where I can create food for the homeless. And I want to start by, small cities. I want to be able to feed an entire city, with veteran influencers. I want to have my own land to a point to where I can grow my own food, to where I can work with programs within the state to where I can feed homeless people and nobody ever goes hungry. So those are like kind of like down the line of things that I want to do. But I am tired of the whole stipulation of veterans being homeless. I don't like that concept. I don't think that a veteran should ever leave the military and not be successful because they have the potential to do it. And I want to be the person that kind of like bust that wide open as far as that concept and give people the vision. I want to be the vision for people. He did it. I can do it.
I really like that. I like all the altruism that you have in there of helping people. You know what I mean? Like that's your primary motivation is helping people. I love that. That's really admirable. Good for you.
Appreciate that.
And then another thing I want to say is for people listening out there, and you kind of hit on this, that there's like a stigma about saying you want to make money from this. Dude,
right.
I want people need to understand the investment that creators make. You know what I'm saying? Not like, and I'm going to get to like why I also, it's tough, dude. I see it both ways because on one hand, you invest a ton of money. You invest a ludicrous amount of time. You are learning things. You're developing all these skills, right? Then you're applying these skills as if it's like you treat it like a job, right? When you do this stuff,
right,
you treat it like a job. And then you ask people for like 99 cents a month or something like that. And they're like, no. And you're like, okay. But then they expect you for free to come out with videos every day, to be there every Friday night. But then if I'm fair, Netflix, the greatest thing that's ever happened to entertainment, is like $11 a month. So am I saying that I am worth 10% of what Netflix is worth to somebody? Am I adding that much value to their life that I can ask for $1? If Netflix is $11 and I'm asking for $1, is that crazy? You know what I mean? Like, and I know it's not the same thing because Netflix has like 1 billion customers. I get that. But I'm just saying, like, the entertainment industry has devalued itself so high because anyone can create content. So for you to distinguish yourself from all the other people out there to a point where your fans, supporters want to make an investment in you financially, especially when you could disappear at any moment in time. You could just vanish from the platform. No, you don't owe anybody anything. You know what I mean? Then there's no guarantee. Right. There's no guarantee for them that you're going to give them anything. You know what I mean? But still, we go out, we make these financial investments. We invest all this time away from our friends, time away from our family. We go on there. We're up late nights on a computer, uploading. Upload failed. Got to upload again. You know what I mean? Like, dude, like all this.
I've been trying to tell people, man, like they don't understand. You know how many times I've done that? Like I had a computer that literally took 8 hours to render a video. 8 hours to render a video. You went to sleep and you woke up and it said, not enough data. Not enough. 8 more hours.
Yeah, dude. And so I have started on my recently on my podcast and YouTube saying, hey, if you guys want to support this channel, here's some ways you can do it. I've started to make the ask, you know what I mean? And you got to ask. I think there's nothing wrong with asking, dude. There is nothing wrong with asking. For the amount of work that you're putting in, for the amount of work that you're putting in, for the amount of time that you've invested, for the amount of money that you've invested, people who watch you should pay you for it. That's what I think. If people watch you, subscribe to you, they should contribute to you because you're putting in so much time and effort, money and investment. It's the right thing to do. That's what I think. It's the right thing to do. So if there's people I watch online a lot and I've learned from them and I've grown with them, I support them, dude. That's it. It's that simple. And if you're listening and you have never thought about it from this perspective, I just want to let you know, people out there that you watch online are putting in work. Serious work. It's not easy. It's no joke. So if you can, if there's people out there you like and you haven't supported yet, go to the ScuttleButtShow.com and become a supporter today. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, your listeners need to go over to your Patreon or whatever you got, and they need to support you, dude. For sure, I think that.
Someone told me about Patreon, and like I kind of know what Patreon is, but I haven't set one up yet. And like I said, and that's what I was telling you earlier about doing what's correct versus what's right. It's I guess it fits in both categories, but I have focused so much on giving back to people that once again, sometimes I don't take the time to invest in myself, and to try to get for myself. And I'm trying to work toward that. Like I said, I've had a pretty good, like a lot of outreach for like my shirts and my hoodies, my tank tops, I have masks now. I've got, I got the mugs. I got a lot of different things that have my logo on it. Right now I'm working on two other different designs right now for some clothing. So I'm working different avenues of how to invest in myself, and I've got a lot of like supporters out there that hit me up. Matter of fact, right before I came on here, I was talking to somebody for about a good hour and a half. He just sent me a picture today. I was like, "Hey man, your shirt's looking good on me," and I posted it to my social media. So there's definitely a lot of supporters out there, and they want to see me doing big. They definitely want to see me win, and they're supporting me every effort. The same ones that are always commenting, sharing my posts, doing this. So. I definitely do need to do a little bit better about supporting myself. And I got to look into the whole Patreon. I think I have a PayPal, that's like for veteran influencers. If you just go to PayPal, type in veteran influencers, you should be able to find it. And if you want to donate money to that, you can. So.
And you don't even got to do that. You can buy a shirt. You know what I mean? You can buy a shirt. You can get a shirt. And the shirts I'm looking at the shirts. They're really nice. I got to step my game up because you got a really nice logo over there.
Appreciate that. I'm going to tell you, man. See, and people tell me all the time, oh, well, you got this. I was like, dude, do you understand what it took me to figure out veteran influencers? Huh? Do you know how many names I went through? They don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I sat there. Nope, this was taken. What about this? Nope, taken. Nope, taken. Nope, taken. I'm just like, I'm never going to figure out a damn name. And then I was like, veteran influencer. I was like, got on my computer. Oh, not taken. You know what I'm saying? Looked it up on the whole IRS for the government site to see if anybody had that LLC. Nothing. Got the website, got all the social media. Nobody has it. So, you know what? I don't want to say I lucked out because I didn't luck out. Like we talked about earlier, is preparation met opportunity. That's literally what it is, and that's what happened. I spent months, people. Look me in my face. Months.
Yep. That's what it is, dude. It's always that. It's always that. Anytime somebody says they got lucky, dude, it's always preparation meets opportunity. And then it is good that nobody else took that name. That's the same way I felt about the ScuttleButt Show. I was like, it's available. The ScuttleButt Show is available. Got it. Locked it in. Too easy. It's like, I can't believe it. It seems like once I thought of it, I was like, oh, it's got to be taken. You know what I mean?
Somebody's got to have it.
Yeah. So I got lucky too. All right, dude, we've been going about an hour. What do you want? It
doesn't even seem like that, man, to be honest. Like, I've had a great time, and it was just crazy because I just met you, and I'm, sometimes people are kind of like, okay, or they're just reading questions the whole time. But like, I literally felt like I've known you for a while, and this conversation has flowed so smooth,
I agree. And I would love to do this again sometime.
Oh, absolutely, man. I want to give a huge shout out to the ScuttleButt Show, man. To all you guys that are out there, make sure you check out his content. I've already checked out some of his videos, man. The guy is definitely dedicated. I can see the quality over time and, extremely nice, man. Wrote a whole paragraph just like kind of like reel me in, like, hey, man, I've been watching your videos, and whether it's true or not, it made me feel good.
It's true. It's true. I never reach out to anybody if I don't really want to talk to them. You know what I mean? I don't send out 100 emails a day, nothing like that. I only people I really want to talk to and that's, I think, why we had a good conversation. You know what I mean? If I just blasted out spam emails all day trying to get guests on the show, I'd have bad content. You know what I mean? But I asked you to talk with me. I asked if I could talk with you because I really wanted to, you know what I mean? And that's why I think I feel like we really connected and clicked even before when we were talking before the show started, because I thought you were a good dude doing it for the right reasons. You know, you're out there putting in the work, dude. You're consistent. You're uploading like daily. Your content's really good, funny, entertaining, all that stuff. I
appreciate that.
I got to make sure people know to go check out Veteran Influencers YouTube channel, Instagram. Go on Facebook for the Ask a Vet, ask-vet, and follow Chris Levine as he kind of helps veterans succeed and start their next retirement while they're still working on their first. Right? I love that.
That's huge, man. Just it's so weird because like I interview all these people, and then it's like when you get interviewed. I think the first time it happened, it was like last week or the week before. I wasn't nervous, but the person that was interviewing me, I don't feel like their energy was matched with mine. It's hard to explain because it sounds like I'm being like some cocky bastard, right? Certain people, when they do interviews, they're just, it's like, it's more inquisitive, and it's like kind of like the 6 o'clock news, or like what's it called, the something minute,
60
seconds, or is it 60 minutes or 60 minutes?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, did you know about the uniform requirements? And it's like, dude, come on, man. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? I get hype about stuff, you know? I like to create moments, you know? I'm all over the place. And I'm not saying I'm the most entertaining person, but I feel like when you bring that type of energy to like a video, it makes the video is about moments. The audio is about information for the most part, right? But like, if we just sat here like this and you're just like, yeah, so my name's Chris Levine, and you know, the way that like, who the hell is this dude, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, why not get hype?
Yeah, dude, I totally agree with you 100%. I think that there's an attitude out there of when people are interviewers, they're like hyper focused on getting it's like what their mind is what's in it for me. But when I interview people, I'm always what's in it for you, the person on the other end. You know what I mean? Like I want it to be fun. I want it to be all about them. I've got no, specific thing I'm getting at here with like any of my questions or anything like that. I want it to be honest. I want it to be fun. I want to have and I want to build good relationships with people. You know what I mean? So when I'm done with meeting somebody on a podcast from Japan to the States, I want to think that, I made a good connection, had a good time, and, maybe a relationship that'll continue and grow. So that's always what I have in mind, dude. And I really felt that on this one for sure.
Absolutely.
You are very entertaining, dude. You're very entertaining. You're very high energy. You're jacked. You got everything. You got everything going, dude. That's why your fitness videos do good.
I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah, dude. Totally. I got it, dude. You're doing great. You're doing all the right things. What do you want people listening to know before we wrap up?
See, I'd be selfish if I sat there and just like, hey, once again, support this guy. And I'm over here talking the whole time about selfless service. So I always want to shout out, other people right now. Let me start off with my boy, George Dula Whiteway. He was a prior drill instructor with me. And because the whole coronavirus thing, I know a lot of the gyms are getting kind of hindered with that. He's a veteran, like I said. And if we can get people to go to brainstormfitgear.com and support his merch. I wish I had a shirt on me right now. I was just wearing it and I put it back upstairs. So obviously I'm definitely supporting him. This dude, he literally had Oscar De La Hoya in his gym 2 weeks ago. Oscar De La Hoya made you know who that is, right?
Yes.
Some people don't know who it is. That's why I'm saying that. I'm like, dude, how do you not know? Anyways, he made a video, tagged Brainstorm Fitness while he was in his gym, and I see him in the background saying, Brainstorm Fitness literally fixed my back. I've had back problems for 20 years. For 20 years, I had back problems. It's literally fixed. I have no back problems whatsoever. What? You know what I'm saying? And because of the whole COVID thing, it's like, I feel like his momentum kind of got hindered a little bit. So, like I said, brainstormfitgear.com. My boy, George Dula Whiteway, he has Brainstorm Fitness Gear. Dude's amazing, runs an amazing gym. Literally, he just got accommodated with cleanest gym in San Diego, most sanitized, cleanest gym in San Diego. The dude is OCD and is so organized. I also want to give a shout out to my close friend and partner, Tamara Moody. She runs Tight Elbows LLC, and you can find her also on Instagram, Tight Elbows 1775. An amazing person. It's not like she's a shirt company, but she makes shirts. She makes she's a company that contracts out for other people, like making gear and whatnot. So I want to give a shout out to her. You can find her on Ask a Vet every Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time as well, next to your boy. And I want to give a shout out to myself. That sounds kind of corny. But, obviously veteran influencers, what I'm saying? If you want to support the movement, I put all the money that I make from these shirts and these hoodies and hats, I put it back into the community. It goes toward my editing. It goes towards, the brand, and it helps to create things in the future. So you can go to Teespring/veteran influencers to find that. And you can get all that gear. And I want to end off with saying, I want to give you guys kind of like another kind of picture of who I am and what veteran influencers represents. So right now we created a couple shirt designs that's going to this thing called Operation Give Back, which the majority of the proceeds that we get from this shirt selling, we're doing a 30-day time period of trying to sell as many shirts. Our goal is 100. They'll probably be around $20 a piece, and the only money that we're getting is money that goes toward the ink and money toward getting one more shirt per shirt, so that we're matching each one. So we're only taking them out. The rest of it is going toward a particular veteran. We're not going to say who it's going toward yet, but you know what I'm saying? We already got that plan in mind, and we are literally I'm trying to create this platform and this whole idea that we can support each other. It's not just a give, right? It's a give and take. So veteran influencers, I want to prove to you guys that we're not just about trying to, hey, buy my gear. Like, we're literally creating scholarship funds. We're going to be in the future. We're trying to create our own like little mini boot camp. We're trying to create our own influencers workshop. You know what I'm saying? The sky is the limit. I've met one of the greatest people and partners, Tamara Moody. Please go support her at Tight Elbow 1775. We're going to give back so much to the community. I've run my mouth long enough, but I love you guys. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you having me on the show, and hopefully that wasn't too long.
No, dude, you know what? I thought that was so great. It moved me a little bit because I said, what do you want people to know as we get to wrap up? And you start talking about other people. Like, that's incredible, dude. That's exactly the type of person that you are. It's obvious from talking to you. You're just a good guy, dude. Your heart's in the right place. And then, of course, the links to everything that you just mentioned, I'll put in the descriptions down below. And if you guys get over to Chris's channel, check out Veteran Influencers, subscribe to the podcast. I'm guessing that's out on all the podcast apps like Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, all that.
Right.
Go out, subscribe to the podcast, listen to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the live streams every week. Maybe I can get on your show sometime. Maybe we can work that out, dude. I would love to join you out there and just have a good time, dude, putting out good information to people. And I love the mission that you're on with the shirts. I'm going to go buy a shirt. I'm putting that out there to the audience right now. I'm going to go buy a shirt. And
make sure you send me your link too, man.
I will. And dude, this has been great. Veteran Influencers, Chris Levine, thank you for joining me today on the ScuttleButt Show. This has been a blast. It's very nice to meet you. And to all the audience out there, thank you for listening. And I will talk to you guys soon. We are out for now.